Hey guys, Ray from Love You RV and Boat. In this video, I'm going to install a dedicated battery to run our bow thruster. Down here you can see we have what's called a side shift bow thruster and our windlass for our anchor. Rather than using the starter batteries, which is how it was wired before, and the alternator, I'm going to install a lithium battery to power those. So it's going to be a bit of an experimentation because I'm not sure if the lithium is going to be able to handle the load of the motors. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the installation the way it is and just add a switch so I can switch between two systems. That way I can see if this battery is going to be able to handle it. What I'm going to use is a company called Vatrer. Sent me out one of their batteries, a 460 amp hour, but it has a 300 amp battery management system that can do 300 amps continuous. And I imagine it also has a surge. Usually they'll have a surge capacity of, say, 600 amps. Anyway, I'm going to rewire the system at the very front of the boat, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. First, we'll kind of peel the battery apart, and I'll give you a look inside because I'm going to be reviewing that battery over the course of the summer, and then I'll show you how I'm going to install it in the boat to make everything functional. Have a dual system where I can use the old um, battery system, which runs off of AGM starter batteries, and the new dedicated lithium battery. So let's get to it. So before I install it, I thought I'd pop it apart just so people can kind of see what's inside here. It looks very well built to me. It's got 8 big lithium cells. I'll take a picture of the QR code in case you want to look it up. But pretty well designed. You can see they've got glue on all the balance leads here, which is nice. And then a nice lead dress as well with plastic coating on it. You can see the main leads coming in, and also protected with some heat shielding there. And they also have lock nuts on there, and then on here they even have nylock nuts on one side and lock nuts on the other, going the extra mile there. And then wrapping around the cells, there's some fiberboard all the way around. It's a big metal case. Kind of makes it heavy though, but very strong and sturdy. One thing I really like is it's all got nuts everywhere, so everything can be easily taken apart. Like I was able to pop the cover with about 10 screws to get inside, and you could actually get in there and change cells. Just pop this off just so I could look at the codes there for you, but nice brackets on the top. And then there was also a fiberboard on that protecting it. Look at the terminals here. So yeah, very robust built battery. Even got an on-off switch right here. And then down inside I can see where the Bluetooth board is, and then they have a small antenna that actually sticks out because of course you've got metal, and metal blocks the signal, so they have a little bit of an antenna sticking out there. They also have some vents on the side here, and then the heat sink is mounted against some metal as well. It's for cooling, but the flip side is it's not going to be waterproof or anything, so you have to watch where you install this one. You don't want to install it where you're going to get any type of moisture. I'm going to install it in the bow in a very dry area, so it shouldn't be a problem there. Anyway, let's put the top on, and it looks like the front actually unscrews, so I'll do that. We'll have a look, see if we can get a better look at the battery management system board in there. There we are. So you have access through the front here to get at the battery management board, and it's also got screws on it and leads. It looks like it's a 300 amp BMS, so that's good. Should be able to drive my windlass and my bow thruster quite well. Cool. On the top here, same thing, they have nice nylock nuts there, and a good platform for putting the leads in. Nice covers, and you can choose to have the wires coming in from the side or from the front there. Nice protective covers. So, quite a well-designed case. Let's sew it up and go hook it up, see how she works. Okay, let's give you a look at the upgrade. So the existing system consisted of some AGM batteries down there that are for starting the diesel engine, but they are also wired in to run the bow thruster. And the bow thruster is of course way at the bow, so there's a long run of I think it's 2/0 cabling that goes through there. Let's just go down into the engine area and I'll show you the existing setup. A few things I've done to improve it. There we go. So yeah, there's two relatively new AGM batteries here, and everything was actually unfused around here, but I didn't really like that. I installed last year this fuse. I found a 500 amp fuse, and that's kind of fusing the run to the starter, and I had no problem last year. It didn't blow the fuse starting the engine. If it ever did, I could just quickly go down here and put a jumper cable across it. And I've also put a fuse here for the alternator now. So the alternator is going to come to this point, charge these batteries. But when I'm running the bow thruster system through this old system, it'll also run the current along with the battery out to the bow thruster. So the bow thruster install was already here, and like I say, this wire here was actually unfused, but it's a pretty short run over to where they put the bow thruster on-off switch. They put an on-off switch to the wiring, which is nice. Gonna leave that there, and then when you turn it on, there's a little voltage meter here as well, which is kind of handy. So that was part of the side shift bow thruster kit. So I'll have the choice to turn that on and off right here. And then they ran the wiring down and through the wall. I'll show you where it was run in the cabin here. So it goes under by the stairs there along a channel underneath here, and then it pops up in this V-berth right down there, and then it was wired in to the bow thruster system here. So there's a little wireless pickup, because there's a joystick on the bridge, sends out a wireless signal. There's also sort of a fob you can use. And then this is just like a giant switch. So it switches the polarity one way or the other. And then you can see these black wires. I've replaced the existing blue wire that was, or white wire that was worn out. It goes out to the bow thruster, and as the polarity changes, it goes side to side. What I've done is installed this big battery down here. See, it kind of fits nicely in there. I just have it on foam right now. I'll figure out some kind of frame and some strapping, but it is very heavy. I doubt it would actually go anywhere, but you never know on a boat. So I've also installed this switch. So it's a two-way switch. It's got an off position. Number 2 will be the existing system. So that would go back to those AGM and the alternator powering the bow thruster. When I switch to the other system, this big battery is going to power it. And you can see that's going to shorten the run dramatically. So we're just going to have the cabling come off here, into the switch and out. So there won't be much voltage drop at all. And also lithium batteries, they don't sag much at all when they're powering a motor, which is nice, whereas the other system can sag quite a bit in voltage. So the motor should run better. For safety reasons, I put a 300 amp fuse here. So I think that's going to be enough. I don't foresee that motor being able to draw much more than that. especially in an instant, this type of fuse won't blow. It's sort of a slower blow type fuse, terminal fuse there. Over here I ran out of black wire, so I just utilized a red wire, but that's the negative. I put a negative bus bar over here because I'm running some extra stuff as well. I moved the Windless breaker. I think it's a 100 amp breaker. It was over in this closet over behind there, so it would draw power off of the DC panel over there, and then it ran through here, and it also had a ground wire that went through that and all the way back to the grounding bus bar way back in the engine bay. So I got rid of all that and shortened everything up and ran new wiring up to the Maxwell here, so shorten that run dramatically, and same thing, it's going to have a higher voltage to draw from. So I think both those systems will be dramatically improved. Anyway, I have some kind of cleanup to do and stuff like that, but maybe we'll just give it a test, go outside and give you a look at it in action. So let's test the Anchor Windless first. One of the cool things is it's got an app for this battery, so we should be able to see how much current is drawing. I'll just record the screen for you. Here we are. And I got an up and down remote here, so we'll try. Cool, seems to be working. Okay, so here's the bow thruster. Let's have the fob here. Oh yeah, that seems to work. Cool. Give you a closer look at the app here. So when you turn on Bluetooth, it finds the battery number. Just click it on or off. There we go, on, and then you go to dashboard. You've got percentage charge, remaining capacity in amp hours, and you can turn charge on or off, it looks like. Balance off, protection normal. And you can scroll down and get more information. Total voltage, amperage, wattage of the charge, and then each cell is shown here, which is nice to see if they're in balance, and your number of cycles. Go down, and there's temperature. You can have that in Fahrenheit or Celsius. And then there's a cell list here. That's about it as far as I can tell. And then over here we have an about page. That's where you can change the temperature. So, pretty nice looking app actually. So you're probably wondering how you're going to recharge this battery up here. Well, a couple ways. I have this DC to DC charger, and it can charge off the alternator. So I'm going to install this. One side of it will be on the alternator battery feed, and the other side will go to this. It also has an app, and I can also set the level of charge I want. So when we're underway and I don't need any other charging, this can be used to top that up. This shouldn't drop too much. You know, when we use the Anchor, it'll be used quite a bit, but then nothing, and also the bow thruster are limited uses, so it should be pretty easy to keep it topped up. But also installed this cable here, which has a plug right here, and I can plug in this little charger, and it can do actually lithium at 30 amps and also a lead acid. So it has two modes, lead acid and lithium. So by switching the switch, I can use this charger to charge the lithium battery, or I can switch over and actually use it to charge the AGMs if needed. And then that can just plug into my my house plug, which is run off my main inverter, or when we're on shore power, So probably when we're on shore power, I'll plug it in and top everything up. And also I'll probably end up getting a little solar charger and installing it in here, and then sending a wire outside where I could put a little portable panel if I wanted to top it up. So all kinds of ways to charge. But I'll be doing a video once I get all these electrical upgrades done. I'll draw up a schematic and everything, block diagram, and show you what I've done and go through the whole system. But I just wanted to give you a look at this new battery that I'm reviewing. So if you're wondering about the cabling, I make up my own. A while back I invested in this hydraulic crimper because I did a lot of solar and battery work on the RV. So it's transferred over to the boat. Makes a nice crimp connection here. See that? And I have some shrink tubing that has kind of glue inside. Pretty heavy duty with an adhesive, so when it shrinks down it actually bonds there to keep the air out of the connection. And on the wiring I put in there, I also use this Noah locks. It's basically made for aluminum to aluminum connection, but it works pretty well. I put it on the wiring inside the lug and also on the connection. Same thing to help mix the connection a little bit better and give some anti-corrosion aspect to it. And then I have a little heat gun here. Probably saw Ann using that for stripping the teak coating. And it's just a Wagner. I had it for quite a while, and I just set it on kind of a low setting. And it makes a nice heat shrinking connection. Now you can see this is copper. In the marine environment you don't really want to use copper. It should be a coated, usually like a nickel coated copper, but I'm running out of lugs right now, and where I'm at to go and get them, it's quite expensive, so I think I'll wait and buy some in bulk and then redo a lot of them on the boat. Most of them are a coated lug, but this one I'm doing a job where it is. There's not much chance of corrosion. It's in kind of a living area, so it should be okay. Well, we'll have to wait till we're launched and out in the water to see how much improvement there's been, but just judging by the way those motors are working, should be pretty good. So I'm going to continue on with some more electrical upgrades. Stay tuned. My next project is to repaint this bilge, and I can reinstall the battery box that was here previously. It housed 4 big golf cart batteries, but I'm going to put a couple of lithium batteries in there. It'll be my secondary house bank. I also have another set under the closet there, and then that third battery can also be used as a backup, so we'll have lots of redundancy for sure and lots of extra power if we do run into needing it. So stay tuned for that. Till next time, Ray from LIFePO and Boat. Cheers, guys.